Do you think you know everything about your own body? What if I told you that gastric juice can dissolve a razor blade, or that some people live without entire organs and lead a normal life? It may seem like fiction, but it is pure reality. The world is full of facts that go unnoticed, but that can completely change your view of what is possible. If even your big toe plays a crucial role in balance, imagine how many other details are shaping your life without you realizing it. If you like discovering things that few people know, get ready. What comes next may surprise you in ways you never imagined. Let's go! Few people know, but Santa Claus already had official recognition in the skies. In 1927, the United States government issued a flying license to Santa Claus, ensuring that he could safely fly through the air on Christmas Eve. Sure, this was a symbolic gesture, but it helped reinforce the magic of Christmas among children and adults alike. Imagine the excitement of the little ones when they learned that even the authorities recognize that he really flies over the world on the most anticipated night of the year. It is not only a charming tale, but also a beautiful example of how imagination can be fueled even by official bodies. Now, think about the genius of this move. In addition to enchanting children, this license was a great marketing ploy. At a time when communication was still limited, a simple government document helped solidify the figure of Santa Claus as a legitimate air traveler. This shows how well-constructed stories, combined with a touch of credibility, can generate deep emotional connections. Companies do this all the time. Have you ever noticed how brands like Coca-Cola reinforce the image of Santa Claus? Creating engaging narratives can be the key to turning any idea into something memorable. And while we're on the subject of flying, did you know that humans also have an innate fascination with the impossible? From Icarus in Greek mythology to the space race, we've dreamed of pushing the boundaries of what's possible. And here comes an even more impressive curiosity. Some people can live without entire organs and still lead practically normal lives. Sounds absurd? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about now. The human body is a true adaptation machine. Have you ever stopped to think that some people live without organs considered essential and still lead a functional life? Yes, there are individuals without a stomach, without lungs, or even without a large part of their brain, and they continue to live in surprising ways. Of course, there are adjustments and challenges, but the fact that the body can find alternative ways to operate is simply fascinating. It is like a computer that loses an important component, but manages to run with an alternative system. Think about the case of people who undergo a total gastrectomy, that is, the complete removal of the stomach. Food passes directly to the small intestine, and the body adapts to digest and absorb nutrients in a different way. There are also cases of individuals who live with only one lung and are still able to perform physical activities. A striking example was that of athlete Bethany Hamilton, who lost an arm in a shark attack, but continued her career in professional surfing. What does this teach us? The limit is often more in the mind than in the body. And if our body can reinvent itself in this way, imagine what the brain is capable of. In fact, it has a fascinating trick to protect us. Did you know that when we scream, our brain automatically reduces the volume of the sound to prevent damage to our hearing? This happens in fractions of a second, without us even realizing it. Want to know how this mechanism works? Hold on to your curiosity, because the next topic will surprise you. The brain is a true master of self-protection. Whenever someone shouts, it activates an automatic mechanism to reduce the impact of the sound on our own ears. This happens because the muscles inside the middle ear contract to reduce the excessive vibration of the eardrum, protecting our hearing from potential damage. It's as if we have a built-in sound filter that kicks in without us even realizing it. Have you ever noticed that your own voice sounds different when you speak? This is the same principle at work, adjusting the internal volume of your hearing. Interestingly, this same mechanism doesn't work when the noise comes from an external source, such as a rock concert or an unexpected horn honk. This is why we feel dizzy in very loud environments. This is why ear protectors are essential for musicians and construction workers who are exposed to constant noise. And speaking of noise, have you ever noticed how people tend to shout more when they're wearing headphones? Since the brain doesn't receive sound feedback in the usual way, it doesn't activate the necessary adjustment, and we end up increasing the volume without realizing it. Now, if the brain can modulate volume to protect us, imagine what else it can do to optimize our well-being. Science has already proven that something as simple as stretching can release endorphins and improve our alertness. Want to know how a little movement can transform your day? Then stay with me, because this curiosity will surprise you. Have you ever noticed that simply stretching in the morning can bring an instant sense of well-being? This is no coincidence. When we stretch our bodies, we stimulate the release of endorphins, one of the hormones responsible for pleasure and stress reduction. This process occurs because activated muscles send signals to the brain, triggering this chemical reward. The result? An immediate feeling of relaxation and energy, as if we had pressed the start button on our own system. But that's not all. Stretching also improves blood circulation, facilitating the delivery of oxygen and nutrients to the muscles and brain. Have you ever noticed that many athletes and even speakers do small stretches before starting their activities? This helps them to increase focus and reduce muscle tension. If you work sitting down all day, try to get up every hour and stretch your neck, shoulders, and legs. This small habit can reduce pain and even improve your productivity. And since we're talking about internal processes in the body, how about something even more surprising? Did you know that the gastric juices in your stomach are so powerful that they can dissolve even a razor blade? It sounds like science fiction, but it's pure biology. If you think that sounds interesting, just wait until you find out what's going on inside your own stomach. If you think you've seen powerful substances, wait until you meet the hydrochloric acid found in your own stomach. It's so strong that it can dissolve a razor blade in just a few hours. That's because its pH is extremely low, ranging from 1 to 2, which means it's more acidic than many highly corrosive chemicals. All this power is essential for digestion, as it breaks down food into smaller particles and destroys unwanted microorganisms before they enter the bloodstream. Now, if this acid is so powerful, why doesn't it corrode the stomach itself? The secret lies in a layer of protective mucus that lines the stomach walls, preventing the organ from self-destructing. But when this barrier fails, problems such as gastritis and ulcers can arise. That's why habits such as eating too quickly, eating very acidic foods, or abusing anti-inflammatories can compromise this protection. If you want to keep your stomach healthy, invest in a balanced diet and avoid excessive consumption of coffee and alcohol, which can aggravate acidity. Now, think about it. If the stomach has such powerful chemistry, imagine the impact other parts of the body have on our lives without us even realizing it. For example, have you ever stopped to think about the role of the big toe? It may seem like just another anatomical detail, but without it, the body's balance would be seriously compromised. Want to know why? Then come with me on this surprising curiosity. The big toe may seem insignificant, but the truth is that it is one of the unsung heroes of our body. It supports about 40% of our body weight and is essential for our stability when walking, running, or simply standing. Without it, we would have much more difficulty maintaining balance and performing basic movements. This is why people who lose their big toe need to go through an intense rehabilitation process to relearn how to walk. Who would have imagined that something so small could have such a big impact on our mobility? If you want to experience the importance of the big toe in practice, try balancing on one foot and lifting your toes. You will notice that your body begins to swing rapidly, showing how essential this part of the foot is for maintaining control of movements. Athletes, especially runners and soccer players, know this very well. Any injury to the big toe can compromise performance and even force you to stop training. In fact, strengthening your feet with specific exercises can help prevent pain and improve your posture, which is essential for those who spend a lot of time standing or playing sports. And since we're talking about sensations that we don't always notice, did you know that our sense of smell simply turns off when we sleep? This means that if a strong smell arises in the middle of the night, your brain can simply ignore it. Can you imagine the implications of this? Well, that's exactly what we're going to explore now. Have you ever wondered why you don't wake up to the smell of coffee brewing in the morning, but wake up to the slightest noise? This is because, during sleep, the brain partially shuts down the sense of smell to prevent unnecessary stimuli from interrupting your rest. This means that if a strong smell appears in the room while you sleep, it is very likely that you simply won't notice it. This mechanism can be useful for ensuring continuous sleep, but it also raises a worrying question. If there is a gas leak or smoke in the room, your nose won't alert you. This fact explains why smoke and carbon monoxide detectors are so important in homes. Unlike hearing, which remains partially active while we sleep, which is why we wake up to alarms or voices, The sense of smell simply turns off its alert function. Some research suggests that only extremely intense smells, such as those of very aggressive chemicals, can trigger some reaction in the brain during sleep, but in most cases, it completely ignores odors in the environment. Now, if our own brain can turn off certain senses to preserve rest, imagine how many other incredible curiosities about the human body still go unnoticed in our daily lives. What else do you not know that can change the way you see the world? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about next. Now tell me, how many of these curiosities did you really know? Knowledge only makes sense when we apply it, so how about starting to see your own body in a different way? Small details make all the difference, and understanding these mechanisms can even transform your routine. If your brain reduces the volume when you scream and your sense of smell turns off while you sleep, imagine how many other secrets your body hides. Do you want to keep discovering more? Then subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss content that will make you see the world in a new way.